ocean.
All right. Everybody go ahead and turn on your cameras. Welcome back, everybody. I think we've got everybody except for Ben and Theo. Let me send them a quick note.
Bobby's not here either.
So one thing that would really help out with Andy and Mary's presentation, if you guys could turn on the lights in your room and sit on up straight so they could see you clearly, because it's hard for them to decipher what's going on with you if they can't get a whole lot of facial expressions. So if you could do that, that would be really helpful. We got the presentation, obviously. You got a little gist of what their almost 57-year marriage is like, but there's a lot more they can talk about. One question that I thought was really good that one of the students asked is they said, they noticed that you talked about how much your childhood affected your marriage. What effect do you think your marriage is going to have on your kids?
Oh, wow, that's a great question.
I was thinking about that earlier.
Well, and we kind of answered that on the last group had a somewhat similar question. Basically, we both came from dysfunctional families. And then I started drinking when I was 16, and I drank until 43. So I was kind of numb. I wasn't in the gutter drunk, but I wasn't fully functional. I mean, I was responsible. I brought in a good income and all that stuff, but I just really kind of wasn't there. I was kind of numbed out emotionally. Mary's background, you got a little taste of that. Both of us came into this relationship kind of messed up, and definitely had an effect on our kids. We have 4 children, and 3 of them have gone through divorce already. The 4th one might be on the edge. We're not sure yet. And what happened is that at 43, I woke up, sobered up, started going to AA, started getting into recovery, and started to change my life. And Mary followed me a couple of years later, and we both really started to recover from our pasts, started to do the work that we had not done up until then. Taking a real deep look inside of us and trying to figure out what is it that we're doing today as adults that we figured out as children, but doesn't work anymore. And in the process of doing that, the 2 of us have changed quite a bit. What's good about that is that it still affects our children today. Our children are all in their 50s, and they look at us now today as a married couple in a wholly different way than they did back then, because we are different. We decide to change, to behave differently. A lot of things about childhood is that you come up with ways to be safe and comfortable as a child. And some of those things that you figure out as a kid are okay for the moment as a child. I think I mentioned in the video that, some kids will go hide in a closet, just to comfort themselves. But that's not practical as an adult. You can't just go in the closet and hide yourself, So you got to come up with different ways to comfort yourself and to deal with things. One of the things that you learn as an adult is to set boundaries and to let other people know what's okay for you, for how you're to be treated, and what's not okay. And that becomes part of the marriage too, is to set boundaries with each other. Here's what's okay for you to do with me, and here's what's okay for me to do with you. So the process has been one of it definitely has a major effect on you as an adult, especially if you don't look at it and question am I doing something today that I figured out as a kid that is not really making my life a better life, you know? And when you kind of look inside and decide that that's the case, your life changes and some wonderful stuff happens. Do you have anything else to say about that? I put you to sleep. Part of Alzheimer's is Mary has trouble with too many words, which I unfortunately, I'm a wordsmith. I say too many, and it's hard for her to kind of keep up with the conversation. You know, she starts to forget the earlier part of whatever is being said. So, my bad. Sorry.
Great question, Evan. What other questions you guys have in your mind? Go ahead and just unmute yourself, raise your hand, whatever you want to do. What other questions come to mind?
Dominic, I got a great shot of your ceiling, but I don't have the foggiest idea what you look like.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Good looking dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking guy.
I'm surprised you guys don't have the cameras trained on yourselves all the time. And hair, my
You're a handsome guys.
yeah. Guys have hair up the wazoo. Sam, what are you doing? Hi.
Okay, stop picking on them.
Okay. Am I supposed to say something?
Well, I know they
Oh,
haven't asked-
we're waiting for a question.
Okay.
They're going to start doing a vaudeville act and start singing and dancing if you
Yeah,
guys
you
don't ask
don't want
questions.
that. That's
You
so,
really don't want that.
yeah, we have no talent.
This is your time, guys.
I'm warning you, you don't want us to sing and dance. It's pitiful.
Hi, how's it going?
All right, great. Thank you, Ocean. Give us a question.
All right.
Love the name.
I do too.
You guys described a lot of hardships with your marriage. What would you say would be the thing that helped you overcome most of them? What would be the unifying factor?
Faith. And I didn't always have it. And it just got to the point sometimes where it felt like my back was against the wall and I didn't know where else to go. And it was like, if you're not up there, I'm screwed. Because I don't know how much you know about my background, but my father was a pedophile and I was his primary subject. And that's a crappy way to start out.
Yes, so
But in '93, he apologized to me, which is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I mean, it was like, wow. And this is what happened. I said to him, he said, we were at his house in the basement, and I don't even know why I was there because I never would have put myself in that kind of a position anymore. But anyway, he said to me, wait a minute. I started to go upstairs. I was going to get the hell out of there. And he said, wait. And I said, what? He said, I need to say something to you. And I said, what? And he said, I'm sorry. Why? For the way I treated you when you were growing up. I went, okay. And I started to bolt and he said, no, so I went back and somehow I ended up talking to him and he said, I can't change that. I'm sorry. And just him saying I'm sorry, it was like, and I said, it's okay, Dad. He said, no, it's not okay. And I said, yo, you don't understand. It was like everything just drained out of my body and I could feel it going right out of my feet. And it was like, it's okay. And sometimes just saying, I'm sorry. And I don't even know how to apologize to you is all it takes to the other person. And it can just absolutely deflate all of this venom that has been in them. And I mean, I carried this since I was 5 years old. And that was, I'd have to do the math. In 93, I don't know what the hell it was. But anyway, I was an old broad by then. Married, had 4 kids. And so, but it was amazing. And it's something I will take to my grave. I never let my children be alone with him. We both were very protective of them, because you never know what's going to happen. But it was like a miracle.
So there wasn't any single thing, Ocean, that took place. I think what happened is that as we progressed in our own recovery, and one of the things about the 12-step program about getting into recovery when you're addicted to something is to learn that you don't have to do life by yourself, that there are people out there that are willing to do life with you. And in the process of that, we still faced difficult situations, but what was going on for us was that we would face the situation and work our way through it, and it was real clumsy at first, but then we would look back on it and say, wow, that worked out so much better than we expected it would. And we had a number of those kinds of experiences, so that I think what we learned was that, as the rough stuff came up in life, that as long as we had faith, as long as we really kind of leaned on God about it, because we didn't know what we were doing, that it would all work out. There's a little phrase that we like to follow, and that's God is present, all is well. No matter what's going on right now, he's still there. It's going to work out. You just got to be patient to see how it all works out. And then when you look back on your life and you look at how it actually worked out, it's amazing. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
So, after going through a number of those experiences, we got to a point where every thing is a 4.5-year process that we're going through right now. And when we came up against it, it was tough. But then we kind of settled into, okay, God's got this. We'll figure this out.
Yep.
And we decided to do it in a real positive way.
So we're just
I
having fun with
hope
it.
that answers your question. That's probably convoluted, but too many words again. Sorry.
Thank you.
Good question, Ocean. Who else has got a question?
You guys are even more asleep than the great class we had earlier this morning.
Jeez, come on, Charlie. Don't give him a hard time.
For this, I got up early and took a shower and did all my stuff and talk to me.
Here, I got a question.
Sam.
So you said that you guys, or you believe that God made you two, made for together. How did you know that you guys were made together? Was there a defining moment or anything?
Can't say there was a defining moment.
No.
Not a single moment. It's kind of like, we didn't have a burning bush that told us, okay, here's God and here's the right person. It kind of comes over time.
I think I got an answer for that. Okay, I don't know how much Mr. G has told you, but anyway, we lost a granddaughter to drugs. She was 24. Okay. Fentanyl got her. But the thing is, shortly before she got pregnant, or before she died, she gave birth to this little guy, and he is a piece of work. And I can look at them, and I can look at the family, and his mother is our daughter, and she's the one that gave up a baby at the age of 17, had adopted it out because she was, same way it was kind of like we all did that. And anyway, she looks at it as a do-over. So she and her husband, the guy she's with today, adopted Carter as their son, who is technically he's her grandson, and they've adopted him. And when I see them together, I can see God's hand in it. Bless you. He's especially when they, you've seen pictures of the women dressing like mother-daughter, kind of like alike. They've got pictures where Trent and Carter are dressed alike, and it's just I bust out laughing every time. And I can see Carter doing stuff that Trent does because Trent does it, and he just tries to emulate him. And the family is. We've got a picture on our breakfast table, and the thing goes, it's a frame, it's an electronic frame And there's pictures that everybody from the family has put in there. And I can just, when I get to pictures with their family, you can feel the love in that house. That is so cool. And, you know, she was our only daughter, last born. And, you know, we screwed her up because we were screwed up, but it all works out. And you could see stuff like that and see how God moved in their lives, in our lives. And it's just, I mean, it's not like he's sending a note saying, okay, this is God, pay attention. You follow me? And it's like it's there. And I see the signs all the time. It really just makes my heart sing.
Yeah, so I think, you know, I think what happens is that you gradually over time, you get to know the person there, and as a result, you know, you see qualities in that person that makes you want to stay with them. I think the biggest factor really is making a commitment to each other, and that's really what makes the difference of you know, staying together for a long time. If you don't make that commitment, then there's always a back door, and you know, a relationship won't necessarily work out. You know, there's no ideal person in the world for you. I don't believe. We all have our faults. We all have our idiosyncrasies and so on. But coming together and working and going through life together, facing the issues that come up in life together, makes you feel closer to each other, and so you continually are falling in love. And we're coming up on 57 years, and we are still falling more and more in love with each other as we get to know each other better.
Yep.
And it's taken 57 years for us to know as much about each other as we do. So I wish there was an easy answer to say, Sam, to say that there's that one person and this is the one. There's probably lots of possibilities.
You'll hear angels singing when you run into this gal. No, it's not gonna be like that. But you will know.
Yeah, the more you can open yourself up to the other person, and that other person open themselves up to you, to where you find out who you really are, there's something real attractive about that. There's something really attractive about being vulnerable and being open with another person in order to really identify who they are. And you're attracted to that. You know, it's like, you know, I'm broken too. You know, I mean, we're both broken.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's more broken than I am.
Yeah, right. I am. I truly am. Okay. Sorry if we didn't answer it exactly right, but that's it. That's our answer.
Your turn.
Oh, that was good. Thank you.
So I have a question. So it seems to me that you both had pretty rough lives, and it's very cool to see how you guys are still staying positive. But was there any like moments or times where you really questioned God? And if you did, like, how did you come back to trusting him? And yeah, that's just my question.
Yeah,
I talk about your straying there for a little bit.
What?
Your stray, you know.
Oh, well, yeah, I left I left the church for about 2 years, and I went church hopping, trying to find, because we got a priest here that just, he didn't get it, and we just butted heads, I guess you could say. And so I went off and you know, trying to find some place where I could feel comfortable, and I did kind of question, but by the same token, I think God really didn't let me go too far away, because he knew I'd be back. And when we came back, you know, we ended up with this really cool priest that we only got to keep for about 20 years. And then he retired, and Andy has breakfast with him every month, and I'm jealous as hell. And but he was what I needed to bring me back. But that was to church. As far as God is concerned, I think church and God are not in one. They're church is too too many rules and regulations, I guess I would say. And God is just, he's just there. He's a constant in our lives. And I think sometimes we just kind of turn away from him. And he lets us go because he knows that we're going to come back. And if we don't, you know, we'll wish we had later on. But he just, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I can put my finger on exactly what the defining moment was. But I think it's something that you just sort of ease into.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that having a daily spiritual practice of, you know, we both start out our mornings in reading spiritual material, you know, looking at Bible study, Bible sayings, reading just uplifting material that has to do with, you know, proof that God is in our world. I think that helps us to, and then I think we see God in each other too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know I see it in Mary, even with the disease. You know, the big issue with dealing with any disease or any issues where you've got problems with another person is to try to separate the behavior of that person from the person. You know, I love Mary. Mary looks the same to me and everything else, but the Alzheimer's is taking her brain and changing her behavior. And sometimes I don't know if I'm dealing with Mary or if I'm dealing with the disease, but I have to keep those two separate and remember that Mary's the person I love and the disease I can hate, but it does show up. It shows its ugly face to us, you know, and I think a lot of that has to do with just believing that and continuing to nurture the spirituality that we start out with, you know, and we continue to work at it. It's not something that's just going to automatically come to you. It's something you got to make an effort to learn or to continue, right?
Mm-hmm.
We both read a piece every morning called Jesus Calling. It's like Jesus making a phone call to us and just telling us how important it is for us to stay connected with it. And we both read that each morning. And sometimes we talk about what we read too. And lots of times we talk to each other about different things that we've read too. You know, we share stuff with each other like that.
Good. Thank you, Teddy. What else? Any other questions you guys have?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, Bobby?
So my question is, so you guys talk about how like marriage is like a really good thing, like to participate in, but what would be like the main downside of marriage that you guys have experienced?
Downside.
Well, I guess the thing about it is that we come into this planet pretty selfish. You know, we're pretty self-centered as creatures. It's all about us. You know, God built a survival instinct to us that's really, really powerful. We do everything we can to stay alive and to stay comfortable and so on. And so the thing about marriage is that you can't continue to live that way. You know, when you're sharing your life with someone else, you got to truly share. And you got to put your own stuff to the side sometimes and come up with something in between that works for both of you. You know, I love to travel. Mary doesn't like traveling. We still travel quite a bit. You know, we have 2 kids that are out of the country. One lives in Australia and one lives in Bangkok, Thailand. And so we do a lot of traveling from the standpoint of as a family, going someplace where we can all come together. She doesn't like that, but you know, she gives up the fact that she doesn't like to travel to go for the trip. And you know, I mean, we both come up with ways of just letting go of stuff that we would really rather do and think about what the other person wants to do.
Yeah. In my defense, I would like to say it's not that I don't like traveling. When I was a kid, I used to get car sick. And my mother rode shotgun. My father did all the driving. And I would be in the middle of the back seat because that's where my mother put me. And I would be the one that was throwing up all the time. And I had to carry, put a bucket, I had to have a bucket in my lap to throw up into. You think my brother's like that? No. My mother had an ornery streak. And I think, and I resent that still to this day, that she had no, what's the word I'm looking for? Compassion. I started to say compulsion. She did have a compulsion. She was, I think she was probably jealous of me too, that my father turned to me, but she didn't like sex to start with. So I don't know. It was a big, it was something I've never figured it out. And I've gotten to the point where I don't even try to figure it out anymore. But it's like,
Yeah. So in essence, really, it's something that Mary was affected by in her childhood is still with her today. Initially, when we talk about traveling someplace, her answer always is no. One of the things that we do is our family for 35 years or more has been going out and chopping Christmas since the kids were teenagers. We've been going out and chop trees down. We did that 2 Saturdays ago, and she just did not want to go. Now, once she went, she really had a good time. But that initial thing really comes back to her childhood, just not wanting to travel. So kind of answers that earlier question about does your childhood affect you? Absolutely.
yes.
Well, we have run out of time. The bell's about to ring. So thank you for your questions, Mary and Andy. Thank you for being here with us. Really
Sure.
appreciate it. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow online. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Merry Christmas
Thank
to
you.
you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.